Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy, Ruther, and Joe Praino. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Port Hueneme, California, Joey No Chill Praino.
Hello, Andy.
What's crack-a-lackin'?
What's crack-a-lackin' in Cincinnati?
Had a nice little trip to Costco today.
Okay. I love all the shit I fucking make fun of Midwest for. You'll just be like, yeah, nice little Thursday. Went over to Costco.
I'm Will Ferrell in Old School when he's talking about the nice day at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll have time.
Well,
Old
Home
School was
Depot.
on. I was at a bar last night watching the end of the Knicks, watched the second half of the game at a bar. And then it ran into, I think, like Old School on, it must have been, they must have just like not changed the channel or whatever. I haven't seen Old School in forever, but like just watching it with no sound on, like out of the corner of my eye, I was like, I should watch Old School again. That was a fucking great flick.
It really is. And I can actually say the same. I haven't watched it in a while. I'll throw that. We can do a little overrated, underrated comedies.
Underrated for sure. For sure. Which is funny because Todd Phillips became, I mean, it's really The Hangover that vaulted him into like, you know, being appreciated as this like, oh my God, he's the king of comedy directors. But he had a bunch of good movies before. I mean, Road Trip was also really funny.
He did.
Yeah.
A lot of movies that I definitely loved in college.
He's had, I heard that he had Starsky and Hutch removed from his IMDb, which is hilarious.
You're just joking, right?
No, I'm not. Like he had it removed from his like.
What do you mean he had it removed? He made the movie.
I haven't checked this, but supposedly.
How do you have something, dude? You made the movie. How do you have something removed?
Well, because you kind of also manage your own IMDb. That's something people don't tell you.
True. I'm gonna look this up. I mean, that's hilarious. You know, I never actually.
He was
watched
like,
that.
I'm thinking about removing Starsky and Hutch from my IMDb, and his agent was like, do it.
I don't see that he removed it.
Oh, it's there.
Let me see if he. No, this is under trivia. Let's see if. Yeah, he's still listed as director.
Okay.
Snoop Dogg. I finally finished the Tom Brady Roast.
What'd you think?
You want to hear where we laughed the hardest? Like where we kept rewinding it was Gronk.
Gronk was great.
You know why? Because he's so, we couldn't stop laughing about how big of like just the Neanderthal he is. And I don't know how much was scripted and how much wasn't, that he wouldn't stop with the Edelman being gay and blowing Brady. And we could not stop laughing. Again, his reactions too. He was graphically showing Edelman or Brady sucking dick.
Yeah.
And we just thought it was so, I kept saying, Gronk is on Hinge. Like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, he was wild.
It was wild.
Yeah.
And Kevin Hart was funny about it, saying like, it is. It's like classic white boy humor.
Yeah.
It's so true.
You'll suck his dick.
I thought overall, I really enjoyed it. It's long. Definitely.
Yeah. That's the thing is like when you watch the Comedy Central roast back in the day, if you have a keen eye, you know where they were cutting shit. And it's like, they were right. Like what they should do is cut that, or what they should do is they should air it live and then air an edit and let you be able to choose or something like that. or air it live and then cut it down for the post. Like if you don't watch it live, you get the edit.
Yeah. Who did you think was the best roaster?
I thought Schultz was the best.
Schultz was good. Nikki Glazer was real good.
Nikki Glazer was good. Her Bitcoin thing was hilarious. Schultz, I thought, was the best in terms of like the things he touched on, the topics he went for, and shit like that. Like, because the thing is, it's so clear that they gave him like a list of things. Randy Moss hasn't won a ring. Edelman is Brady's butt boy. Like fucking, the Spygate, Deflategate, and it's like felt like Schultz got away from like the things that were like, here's the checklist that you got to hit with everybody.
Well, that's what I kept saying, I was like watching it and I'm saying, okay, Moss didn't win a ring. Nobody's touching all the other stuff with Moss.
Right.
Like nobody's doing any research how he had committed to Notre Dame. He got kicked out. Like he didn't even make it there. Dude, Florida State. He was so bad. Florida State. He ended up at Marshall. And Florida State took everybody. The whole thing about him doing the touchdown celebration in Green Bay with the mooning. It's like I kept saying nobody's touching on anything.
Yeah, I thought for sure there was going to be like remember when Randy Moss pulled down his pants in celebration? It's like every time Burt Kreischer goes on stage.
I thought that duo bit was not good.
I'm just gonna, there's so much to talk about. Like, I don't even want to. And then we did like my hatred of Drake and my fucking hatred of Philly. It's like, I don't even want to touch like two of the biggest comedians in the world. Everybody fucking loves. Like, you talk about the term industry plants. Those are two guys. Like, you guys have a teleprompter. What's the issue here? Basically, the issue is if Bert doesn't distract you by taking off his shirt and you actually listen to the words coming out of his mouth, he's a pretty fucking mediocre comedian.
Well, I've personally, I've never been the biggest fan of his straight up stand up. Now, I have liked a lot of Tom Segura stuff. The Nikki Glazer, she has some good digs, if I recall, on Bert, or maybe somebody else did. I think Sam J did as well, as far as the taking the shirt off. I mean, look, I'll just say I don't care because I'm not in the comedy game. You're more so, dude. You're Carrot Top with that shtick. You are, like, if you're just taking off your shirt, in my opinion, and cool, dude, get paid. I'm just saying, just know, like, that's Carrot Top shtick-esque. Is it not? How is it not?
Also, just like, you're just going to do the same thing every time forever.
Yeah.
Like, making that a thing for a while, it's like, Can you imagine if like Eddie Murphy decided to return to comedy? He was like, I'm putting it on you. And you're like, we have not. Listen, I just wrote on my Substack page about like one of my big issues with just comedy and creators today is like people find a thing, it gets a lot of hits, it gets a lot of attention or whatever. And they're like, this is just like what I do. I just do this over and over and over again now.
Which, look, I understand it's got to be a tough balance. But like, I do understand, because if you're going to make money off it, because the end game for most people is to make money. So if you see a financial return on a quote unquote shtick, I get that's probably tough to leave. But just know then you're for sure pigeonholed into that. Larry the Cable Guy could never get out of Gator Dunn and his whole shtick now.
Now he's Larry the Cable. Like, now when I go to Edgewood for the celeb tournament, he's got to play golf in a fucking camouflage hat without sleeves. He's on the golf course. He's got to wear like Timberlands and shorts. And you're just like, what has your life become?
But that's my point.
Now you just have to be that guy everywhere.
Which to bring it full circle into our stuff. Don't you remember when Eddie Ift was always tell me, dude, just lean in so hard and be the frat daddy? And that was always my thing. I said, dude, then I can never be Andy Ruther. And he'd always say, look how he'd always use Larry the Cable Guy. Look how many millions of dollars he's made. Go on stage as a douchey frat guy, be the frat daddy. And I'm like, yeah, maybe it does work. Maybe it doesn't work. But then you're 100% stuck. You and I aren't having, I'm not having this conversation.
The issue with these guys, though, is like you're not stuck. You don't have to. You can just do some different shit. Like, you don't have to. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Adam Sandler is like the fucking, you're goofy, you're gonna ha ha, and then he like does like really good movies.
Yeah, but my point is, Larry the Cable Guy couldn't stop being Larry the Cable Guy. Don't you agree?
I mean, now it's too far gone.
That's my point.
But like, Burt could put on a shirt for his next special. Shirts on special. You know what I mean?
That's true. No, you're right.
I just know so many guys, like, and you probably even know, but there's comedians, and this isn't to shit on, because again, it's like the thing, but like, there's one comedian who I'm sure, I forget his name, but I'm sure you know him, but he became big on TikTok. He did one video on TikTok that was like him hearing this music. He's like our age. I forget the fucking dude's name. Him hearing like Radiohead for the first time when he was a kid and just being like, oh, like that's the video, like him like reacting as the song plays. And now he just has 400 videos up. Like, the first time I heard this fucking Alice in Chains riff, the first time this happened, the first time, and you're like, this is it now for the rest of your life. You're just making faces to music that you like forever.
That's what I'm saying. Once you get locked in. But I'm also countering that with also, it's probably not easy to get out of it if you are seeing a financial return. Regardless, I thought overall I really enjoyed it.
Regardless, this reminds me. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I did enjoy the roast. And I hope that there's more. And also, you and I obviously picked up on this, but I don't know if the common person, they sprinkled their Netflix people on the show, but also not even people who were performing. Like, they kept doing camera shots to Shane Gillis. He has a special on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wild that he didn't, like, why wasn't he like, let the dude roast? Like, he's one of the biggest comedy stars in the world. He's great, I'm sure, at that kind of fucking roasting.
Yeah, I was surprised. Are you going to be roasting Pacers fans this episode?
I mean, listen, I thought this was done. I thought we were over. Like, I shit all over Sixers fans last episode. We all know I've been outspoken about, Philadelphia. It's a bitch ass town with bitch ass opinions that are crybaby bitches. I had moved on. I thought we were done, and I didn't realize that this is a thing. I don't know if it's like people finding Knicks fans obnoxious, or people, whatever. Like, I cannot imagine being an outsider and doing this the same way I look at like Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves, and I'm like, amazing. The same way I look at Jokic through the last couple of years, I'm like, what the guy's so fucking skilled. What a, like, whatever. Like, even you and I, we were kind of like low-key Warriors fans until KD went over there. We were like, oh, look at how great they are. They play this game a certain way. Like, I just can't imagine being an outsider without an agenda and being like, Jalen Brunson, fucking flopping bitch. You're like, what are we like? How are you not appreciating what this guy is doing? How are you not appreciating what this team is doing with nobody, dude? No Randall, no Mitchell Robinson, no Bogdanovich, now possibly no OG Anunoby, no Jalen Brunson for a quarter and a half last night. Like, and the Knicks have been like down for so long that you can't even be like, oh, fucking Yankee fans, we get it, 27 rings. Like, we just been over here eating bowls of shit And now, like you made the title of the episode, the Garden is back. And now, like, I mean, I might go so far as to say the 2011 Mavs documentary is off. I'm not like I'm not sitting in a room with fucking Fire Marshal Bill counting fouls that were missed in the game. Oh, we look at the tape. 49 missed calls. Like, the fuck? By the way, I've never been more confident in the Knicks winning this series easily. Your coach isn't your coach, instead of looking at tape and going, oh, it's very obvious that Jalen Brunson struggles way more with TJ McConnell on him than he does with Halliburton on him. Instead of doing that, he's like literally crying into his fucking cereal, counting missed, I don't know, nudges and bumps. Like, great. Like, cool. Don't coach. Whine. I love it. Like, I just didn't think, I thought we were on. I said it when I was like, well, Philly's on. I have no ill will toward the Pacers. Like, let's just whatever. Then TNT's like, we're sending Reggie there. We're fucking. I said on Twitter today, I was like, Roy Hibbert and Isaiah Thomas are calling the next Knicks Pacers game on TNT. They're like, oh, Antonio and Dale Davis will be sideline reporters doing the night at the Roxbury to fucking Josh Hart between fucking quarters.
So the Pacers submitted. First of all, this is a bitch ass move. I mean, look, you talk about it as an outsider. I'm an outsider in this situation. The Pacers have submitted 78 instances of incorrect or non-calls to the NBA that they felt put them at a disadvantage in games 1 and 2 of the series, according to ESPN. You know what this is? You're submitting, dude. This is, you know what this is? This is what I think of when I see this. I think of this like United Nations sanction shit. It does nothing. You always see that like, well, the United Nations has sanctioned Iran for this or North Korea. It does nothing. You submitting 78 calls that you found questionable, it does nothing. Why?
So I watched the game yesterday, and apologies to everybody who was hoping to tune into a live feed. So yesterday I ended up having to drive my girlfriend from, up here in Ventura to the hospital. I watched the majority of the first half on my phone in the car. On my way back, I'm like, I'm not going to sit in traffic. I'm going to a bar. I stopped in Hollywood at a bar, watched the game, sound off. Andy, when I say that I got in the car after the game, drove up to home, got home, opened Twitter for the first time, and I was like, people are complaining. Like, what are people complaining about? Like, I hate to say this and I replied to a DirtBall who was like, hate to be a Philly fan, but man. And I was like, wait, are you guys complaining again? Like, I was like, what is the complaint? I'm not trying to be an asshole, but watching the game without the announcers telling you a certain way to feel about things, I missed the thing, the complaint. The only flop I truly saw in the game was when Halliburton flopped in the wrong direction. He was pretending he got pushed in the back, but yet fell in the direction the contact was coming. I was like, well, I guess we're not doing the flopping thing this series. And then to come home and have, and like an hour and a half later, see that Rick Carlisle's like, we got fucking hosed. I'm like, what did I miss? Literally, what did I watched every second of the game with my two eyes. I'm like, what did I miss? Here's what I thought happened. I thought the Knicks played without their best player for an entire quarter plus. They have a 6-man rotation, and you gave up 130 points. Give up 130 points. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
I think when you use the refs as an excuse, it's just lame, man. It's I mean, think about this. They're submitting. What is the end game here? Is it trying to posture for the next few games that they're going to get better calls?
Yep, exactly.
Is that the move?
Yeah, exactly. Small market teams should have a chance. The Western Conference Finals can be OKC against Minnesota.
I am shocked the Knicks are up 2-0. I'm shocked.
There is the best player in the series, and then there's the entirety of the World Trade Center, and then there's the second best player in the series. Jalen Brunson takes literal shits better than the Pacers' best player. If Rick Carlisle was coaching, he would call his GM right now, and he would be like, I know it's past the trading deadline. If we're going to submit anything to the NBA, submit a request to be able to trade for one of Jalen Brunson's shits. I know you can't trade for players after the deadline, but can we trade for a player's fecal matter? Can we sign one if we put Jalen Brunson takes shits better than the Pacers' best player? So I'm not surprised we're up 2-0.
Really?
Really?
I'm just saying, game 1, which we called live, it's available on YouTube. Although, is that unlisted?
Yeah, but if you go to the chat in our
Substack,
the link is still there.
Yeah, just subscribe to the Substack. Anyway, I ended up popping in the second quarter thinking it was going to be just the second quarter. We ended up doing the whole game with you. It's actually a lot of fun.
And then I ended up doing a whole other game,
Guys,
which, by the way, went off the rails. I don't know if you know.
No, Praino calls the T-Wolves Nuggets game. Praino watches 5+ hours of basketball live.
I was joking in the second game. I was like, here I am 5 hours later, simply because Ruther was like, yo, you ever try Wingstop, dog? And then next thing I know, I'm eating wings on a chat. Well, I had to have Garrett Payne on. I had to have him on the stream because he put in the chat that Drake was the best rapper ever, and the chat just lost it. Like, no basketball was talked after that. People were just roasting him.
So you brought a DirtBall. You brought Garrett on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, I should like explain myself. And I was like, bro, I mean, like, I'll give you the opportunity, but I was like, I don't think it's going to go the way you think it's going to go.
Like, he showed his face?
No.
It's
audio only.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Garrett came on and he was explaining, or he was trying to defend his position is Drake is the best rapper of all time.
Yeah, ever.
I'll tell you what, Dirtballs. If this stuff doesn't get you to subscribe to Substack, I don't know what will.
He was like, no, in fairness, I'm Canadian. And the whole chat was like, what the fuck? And he's like, he sells the most fucking things. And everybody's like, McDonald's sells the most food. It's not the best restaurant ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Keeping Up with the Kardashians is a blockbuster show. Doesn't make it a great TV. That's hilarious.
The chat lost his mind. It was literally an hour of people just fucking roasting him and being like, what are you talking about? But it was good because the Timberwolves game was a 30-point blowout.
Which is insane.
Yeah, insane. That's what I don't understand is I am like I'm not a fan. Obviously, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm not a fan of any other team. But I've always been a fan of great players. And I've always, like, really the only guys I quote unquote like root against are selfish assholes. Like, I've always rooted against Kyrie or Carmelo or Kobe or, these guys who just don't have an attitude I like. And then you have, again, even the Warriors, rooted for them right up until they like kind of bitched out and and formed the super team. The same way everybody hated Miami when LeBron went there, which I did too. I remember tweeting years ago, if you root for the Heat, you probably watch the History Channel and root for the Nazis. Like, how do you do that? And the fact of the matter is, like, great great players. Like you watch what Anthony Edwards is doing, and you're like, this is fun, man. This is fun. Like I know it's happening against Jokic, who I'm like kind of fan of, but like this is fun. It's fun to see new stars like appear in the league. Everybody loves them all. They just hate the Knicks. And it's like, great. We're here for it. I just put up a video. I said, and to all of you fucking Knicks haters, eat my fucking ass with a spoon. Like, I'm fucking, like, eat my fucking ass. We love it. And by the way, I came home. I watched the Knicks game in a bar with no sound. I came home and I watched the second half on TNT. And like, you can just tell there's nothing like that. Starks and Marbury on the baseline, standing the whole game. Josh Hart doing this to the crowd. Josh Hart going over and having Reggie take off his headset. And he's like, I don't know if you know, but they're saying, fuck you. Did you see
saw that?
Amazing. Amazing. Like that is, and then I saw people like hating on, like, is there any other player ever on any, like, is there any other team where like anybody does that? You wouldn't be like, that's hilarious. That's great. Some Philly fans, oh, fake tough guy act. Fake tough guy act. Reggie Miller is the definition of the fakest tough guy of all time. He was like, I own the city. Dude, you're like 12-40 in Madison Square Garden.
You think the Knicks really win in 4?
I think they probably win in 5. I think we'll get the makeup game. I think they'll be like, all right, give Fire Marshal Bill 1, and then they'll come back and the Knicks will close it out at home in 5.
Fire Marshal Bill.
Wear a hat or something. Be fedora guy.
There is a resemblance.
You think?
For sure. That's a nice little deep. That's a deep cut, man.
Yeah.
90s Jim Carrey in living color. If you don't know, you should just Google Jim Carrey Fire Marshal Bill. I remember talking about that at school. I vividly remember, like, you see that sketch last night?
Yeah.
In grade school? Fire Marshal Bill. I'd almost want to go back and maybe watch some old and living color.
I remember it like popped a couple years ago too, because remember Jim Carrey did like the guy girl, where he was like a whatever, and he had like he was like, I don't even know, like I don't want to say trans, but he was like a super manly woman. I saw a bunch of people like a couple years ago being like, every chick in fucking high school now, or whatever.
You know what's crazy, man? It was only 5 years or 5 seasons.
Yeah. Very short run. And that and I don't even think Jim Carrey was on all 5 seasons.
They have him listed.
Do they?
This is on Wikipedia. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, yeah, they have him listed on all 5.
Okay.
But like 5 seasons was also 1990 through 94. So it wasn't even 5 years.
Right.
I mean, they produced some major stars. Even if you just take everybody else out, but Jim Carrey and Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx, yeah.
I'm saying if you just took those two.
That was the thing. Jamie Foxx was added later on, right? Or he wasn't in the original cast.
Correct. Jamie Foxx, he's listed. He comes in as a featured act in seasons 3 and 4, and he was a starring act in season 5.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Basically, the black version of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. With Jim Carrey, who couldn't get on Saturday Night Live, who went on to be the biggest star in the world after that.
I mean, you could make a valid argument for Living Color. There's no Chappelle Show. There's no I mean, it's probably an easy one. There's no Key and Peele. There's almost no. Is there Dave Chappelle as we know today? If there's no In Living Color because of all the other domino effects that happen, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can make a claim there. And now the Pacers head coach looks like Fire Marshal Bill.
Looks like a Jim Carrey character from that show who had suffered third-degree burns all over his whole entire body. He's out there in his like fucking like again. I am a 2011 Mavs stan, and I'm just like, Rick Carlisle, what are you doing to your legacy? You're out there in your fucking old man shoes. You're out there in your like comfort walkers, getting kicked out of playoff games because you're getting fucking boat raced in the final because you can't close because we have the closer. We have the Mariano Rivera of basketball players. And Andy, did you watch the whole game?
Yeah.
Like this whole idea that Jalen Brunson is like a flopper, it just seems like the sourest grapes. Like everybody keeps trying to bring up like the Steph diving into people sideways thing or the Harden thing. Like he doesn't do any of that shit. The only thing he does, which is very fucking savvy, by the way, is get by you. All he's saying is, when I'm by you, you just got to let me go. Because if you don't let me go, I'm going to stop. And if you run into the back of me, now I get the bucket and the foul. Because no one's in front of me, and then you hit me from behind, I get the bucket and the foul. Like, he's not diving into guys. It's kind of sour. Like, it just makes me feel like, and I said this, I put a video out on TikTok and Instagram today. I was like, this is the first time in the internet era that my team has been good. My team was not good. The last time my team was good, there was no social media. That's how long the Knicks have been bad. There was no social media the last time we were like kind of a contender. And obviously I know, we all hated Kevin Durant for going to the Warriors and whatever, but like, those other teams that were good, like, were Bucks fans, like when Bucks fans had their title run, did I miss the whole world being like, Giannis is a fucking bitch?
Did you see Jalen Brunson already has more career playoff points than Carmelo Anthony?
It's glorious. In less games, on less shots. Dude, his over-under last night. His fucking over-under last night. Obviously, he was out for a quarter plus 3 minutes. They said his over-under at 37.5. What world do we live in? 37.5. They said his over-under at. There's like, he's probably going to score 40 again.
He's like the small version of Jokic. You just go, how does he amass all that stats? Right?
He's very much the small version of Jokic because it's just all craftiness and pivot foot and getting you off balance and slipping in through a little fucking spot and whatever. Meanwhile, again, I'll repeat this again because I don't know when I tweeted it as opposed to when they started talking about it, but I started watching the second half at home again. And I tweeted at some point when I was watching it live, why is TJ McConnell out of the game? I was like, they're so much better with him on the floor. And apparently the broadcast was talking about that too. I didn't know that at the time, but apparently the broadcast was talking about it at length. But I was just like, he was giving him trouble. And Rick Carlisle took him out. Is Rick Carlisle he's gonna spend the whole next 2 days with the referees? He's not gonna. Is that trying to like? Is that like a directive from above? Halliburton's our star, quote unquote. He needs to be in there in crunch time. Like, what is you gave up 130 points. We had a fucking 5-man rotation.
Well, they can't stop him offensively. They're not playing any defense. Yeah, play McConnell, as you called him on the live broadcast. My stunt double, my
Yeah, your
doppelganger.
doppelganger.
By the way, after that broadcast, let me just explain what I did. We're calling the game. I asked Joe if he's ever had Wingstop. This turns into a whole wing discussion, which of course goes to the best sauces on the wings.
Oh, by the way, you missed that whole thing. I got honey garlic. The honey garlic at Buffalo Wild Wings is incredible. May have leaped Asian Zing.
I bet it is. I bet it's
top.
better.
Asian Sting still has that kick at the end, which I like. But
so remember, I said, "Oh, I got to go get gas for Brittany's car."
Yeah, that's right. That was a whole other discussion.
It's a whole other discussion.
The Ruther late night gas run just to get gas.
So I run up to Kroger, right, gas station there. And Kroger's open till 11 by me, and I was I had the munchies, and I was craving something, and I was craving some sweets. So I walked into Kroger, and I got reckless because I was a little hungry too. I should have just eaten something. So I got 2 pack, and I was like, oh, she'll eat some of this. I got 2 packs of peanut M&Ms, a pack of Kit Kats, and a pack of Reese's. So I come home, I have the pack of peanut butter M&Ms. I have the Kit Kat.
Wait, peanut butter M&Ms or peanut M&Ms?
Peanut, sorry.
Okay, because I was like, you can't go peanut butter M&Ms and Reese's. That's just that's redundant.
She wanted peanut butter M&Ms, but I didn't listen because that's, we don't listen to girls half the time. So yeah. I ended up just getting 2 packs. I knew she'd eat one of them, but anyway, I got the peanut M&Ms. She ate that. I ate a pack of peanut M&Ms and a Kit Kat, and I was like, oh, I'll save the Reese's for tomorrow. Dude, this is how crazy girls are. She knew I had the Reese's, right? I ate it. What was that? Monday night?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So I ate the Reese's Tuesday. And then after dinner, she's like, oh, let's split those Reese's. And I was like, oh, I had them today. Dude, she was legit mad at me. I was like, you're mad at me? She's like, that was mean. And I was like, mean? I was like, I bought them. I'm the one who said I had the candy urge because of the live podcast we were doing during the Knicks game. Mean? I was like, I told you I'm going to buy a bunch of candy and I'm going to eat it. What do you want? And you just said you wanted one thing. Everything else is mine. And then even before bed, I was like, we really doing this? And she's like, yeah, you didn't want to share. You just decided today that you were going to eat the Reese's. And I was like,
this is tales of a guy in his first fucking long relationship. Like, dude, I learned that at like 26. I bring candy and I hide it. And that way when she's like,
smart move.
She'll go, what happened to that thing? And I'll be like, I ate it, but I have like all this. I look at all this stuff that's up here too. Where'd you get all that? I knew you were going to fucking do this to me. I'd be like, what are you in the mood for? I got fucking Red Vines. I got Reese's. I got you. I got you chips.
The hide.
Yeah.
That's a good move. The hiding move.
Cause I'm not like I won't like pound snacks unless I'm like stoned. I won't pound snacks. So like I can hide some candy, some chips and whatever up in our cabinet too high for her to like stumble across. And then she'll be like, you ate that Almond Joy, didn't you? I'd be like, I have 3 more Almond Joys, a Reese's and some Red Vines and some salt and vinegar chips. Just like, which one do you want? And I'll go get it out of the safe.
It's a smart move. And I got a nice little area down here in the podcast studio, a closet where I could definitely hide some food. I think that's the move.
Yeah.
Because unlike you, I get some bad urges and I can be reckless, whether I'm stoned or not stoned. If I'm just like in the mood, I can be a savage with the candy. And I know it's like a binge personality thing that I have. So I'm going to lock that one up here.
My other thing too is like whenever I'll have to go to like CVS or some shit. Whenever I'm in there, You know, she's like a big milk chocolate caramel, sea salt chocolate, that kind of thing. So on my way out, I'm always like, oh, here, I'm going to grab one of these. And then I just like stash it. And then she'll be like, you know what I really need right now? And I'm like, what? She's like, I need chocolate. I'm like, great. I already have some. So if this was a whole thing to like get me to go somewhere, I'm gonna go to the shed and watch the Knicks game. But here's this bar of chocolate that I bought like 4 days ago for you.
That is smart because she does the exact same thing. I'm really craving some chocolate.
Yeah.
You want to run up to Kroger? They're open still. Do you mind just running up there,
Yeah.
getting some chocolates? But if I got it handy,
you need a candy safe, Andy. You know, you do.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And just never tell her about it.
No, I won't. I think that's perfect. We got to talk about some other series, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the Timberwolves.
It's unbelievable. By the way, I just want to say right now, I think the Timberwolves win the series, but I did place a bet this morning because the Nuggets have fallen to 15-1 to win the title. And I'm just like, I mean, they're still like this like burying the Nuggets is like, it's aggressive. It's amazing what the Timberwolves have been able to do, especially defensively, especially in game 2 without Gobert. What Anthony Edwards making the leap at this young an age is incredible. It's so fun to watch. I think it's good for the league to have a young American star. I think it's good for the league to have, you know, everybody like wants to hop on these like, well, now this is going to happen for the next 5 years. I think it's great to have like, no one saw the Timberwolves. Like, if the Timberwolves get through this series,
no one saw them in the conference finals.
No one saw them in the conference finals, but like they get through this series, and you're like, well, if they can just like thump the shit out of the Denver, I also think like if they were to match up with an OKC, like it would be a fun series. But like if they can thump Denver, then they can go to the finals, and if they can go to the finals with the way they're playing defense, I already think that the Celtics are kind of sus in like a super, you know, down east. I'm not like high on the Celtics, especially without Porzingis. Again, you get an Anthony Edwards or look at the teams in the West right now. Anthony Edwards, Jokic, Luka, SGA. All those guys are the best player in a finals game against the Celtics. And let's start there, you know, first best player. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I think it's great to have an Anthony Edwards to build a team around trying to beat the Nuggets to come to it. And like, I'm rooting for a good series. I want 3 7-game series and a 4-game series. That's what I want as a fan. But yeah, it's been a 30 plus. I said this is 2011 Mavs shit, dude. Remember when they just came out and just like fucking had an incredible first round and then fucking housed the little Lakers in 4, the defending champ Lakers?
Oh yeah,
just fucking smacked the shit out of them. Won game 4 by 40.
Well, obviously Denver has to win tonight. Must win. But when you go down 0-2 and those first 2 are at home, I mean, again, even if they split, you're down 3-1. Then you got to close out with 3. The league definitely
Who do you think wins this series, and how many games do you think they win it in?
I think the Timberwolves win. 6.
You think they split there? Denver gets back, wins 1 at home. Minnesota closes out 6.
Yeah. But the league's got to you talk about the league loving an American star. They probably need that. Right? Because we're kind of on to the next generation, so to speak.
Is that what's happening, you think, Andy? Do you think the league is rigging it for this young American superstar? I think personally that the Minnesota Timberwolves are playing incredible defense, and their strategy of building this team around a guy, and then the guy getting there. I said this, I don't know if I said this last episode or if I said it on the stream the other night, but the whole thing hinged on he has to make the leap now, which is kind of unheard of. Like to be, it's unheard of for anybody besides like basically LeBron James historically to be leaping at 22 years old. Otherwise, this strategy of like give away all these draft picks to get Rudy Gobert, who will be gone or old or done or overpaid by the time Anthony Edwards is 25. So like, if this is strategic to build a team and go, we think Anthony Edwards could be elite at 22, props to you. The other, I guess, potential is like, well, Rudy Gobert will let us have a, we won't be a lottery team, and you got to start somewhere. But I just think that this is a great defense and a star player, and them getting hot. I just want to be on the record. I don't think the NBA is rigging basketball so that they can have a young star. I don't think that.
Of course not. I'm not rigging it for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, they only rig it for the big market teams. Those are the ones. They can't have Timberwolves versus a small market team in the final. So they're cool having the Timberwolves be good. They'll have to rig the East to have Boston or New York there to counterbalance the big and small market. They could have just rigged it for LA and had their greatest player ever, play like Boston in the finals. That seems like it would be, better for ratings.
I mean, look, it has been rigged in the past, to be fair.
Right.
Go back and watch the Kings Lakers. What is it? 2002, 2003 series. That was insane. That game. There's enough videos out there.
Well, there's also a ref from the crew saying we rigged it.
Correct.
Right. But you would think, and I hate to say it because, obviously Bill Belichick does exist, but I think when you get caught blatantly doing something, you usually don't do it again.
Usually. Or people think that's the move. They don't think you're going to do it again, so you do it again.
Here's what's funny is, Boston's obviously a pretty big television market as well. If the NBA was going to rig a series for the Knicks, feels like that would be the one to do it. Doesn't feel like we need to rig a series for the Knicks when they are playing a 7 seed and a 6 seed in the NBA playoffs. Two teams that they just are significantly more talented than with or without some of their best players.
So if we'll do TV market size, not the metro population.
Right.
I just pulled it up. The NBA's markets.
I bet you I can guess within 5 marketplaces.
You can get. I'm sure you can guess you can probably guess the top 5 markets.
New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston.
Boston's a lot lower than you think.
Oh, really?
You got the first 3 right. It's New York, LA. So those 4 teams from those cities.
Right.
And you got the Bulls. It's 3 Chicago.
Oh, this is NBA. This is the NBA market specifically. This is
So some of these so it's not population.
Right.
Philly's actually number 4.
Oh. So, and New York's number 1 or 2?
1.
Okay. I guess they're still a bigger market, so that would explain them having to rig it against the 4th team.
Dallas is 5.
It's weird. It's weird that Philly being the 4th largest market didn't get any of their series rigged during the process. Like against like Toronto. I would have rigged that series if I cared about television ratings, especially in television ratings in the United States of America. I would have rigged that one. Or if they're ahead of Boston.
Boston's 11 for TV market size.
Feels like Philly should have had some of those rigged against Boston.
Minnesota's 13th. But I mean, yeah, you got OKC's the third smallest market in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for the league. I think if they have a young star, obviously, because we're on the edge of that generation, right? The LeBrons, the Stephs, the Kevin Durant, even Jokic is older. Giannis, it's like these guys have been around for a minute. I'm not saying these guys are done because they're not. I'm just saying that the next young star. You have Wembanyama, but again, American star. It helps. It helps the game. Obviously, we both think Boston's going to move on.
Yeah.
We think OKC is going to move on.
Well, I think that's going to be the best. That'll probably be the best series at this point. I like Luka and the Mavs in game 2. I like the Mavs money line tonight.
Do you think Gilchrist should have won the MVP over Luka?
SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yeah.
Who did I say?
You said Gilchrist. I think you might have gone Michael Kidd Gilchrist on me, which I don't think he should have won the MVP of his AAU tournament.
Jesus Christ, is that a Rutherism?
We now get into right we get into the yearly value conversation. Like I don't fucking know. Like truthfully, what do I think? Like Homer or not? I tweeted it last night. I mean, no one's more valuable to their team than Jalen Brunson. That.
You might have a surprising advocate.
Who?
Charles Barkley was pretty much saying that on Shannon Sharp's podcast.
Yeah. But that's neither here nor there. Like we've been doing this show 10 years. We've said for 10 years. It doesn't have anything to do with value. So I'm not arguing for Jalen Brunson because based on what I know about the MVP, he does not fit the criteria. At the same time, like if I went by the criteria, then like I guess SGA because he scores a bunch of points on a team that was the 1 seed
in the West.
Do I think like they're a really, really well-built young team and that the Nuggets are a lottery team without Jokic? Yeah, but like again, it gets so complicated because what am I really voting for here? This is why I don't get a vote, because if I got a vote, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to vote for the most valuable player, the guy most valuable to his team, the guy I think whose team would have the biggest drop off if you took him off the team. And then in that case, I would vote Jalen Brunson and then Jokic and then probably LeBron. And then Luka. Or maybe Brunson, then Jokic, then Luka, then LeBron, then SGA.
I mean, that list now that Jokic is on. It's like you talk about moving up the all-time ranks. It's pretty impressive. Only 9 players have won 3 or more MVPs. I mean, he's done it 3 and 4 years. He has the same amount of MVPs now as Magic Johnson, Larry Bird.
Yeah.
But here's what's crazy, and you know the answer to this. If you tweeted out and you said Jokic is better all time than Kobe, it would be so funny to see how dumb people are.
Jokic is better all time than Kobe.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
It's not even a question.
Yeah.
But my point is the discussions and the understanding of basketball
This is,
within,
by the way, this is me. You remember, I had Kobe above Jokic on my list when I did it, and I would still do it, but
you
Jokic
still have Kobe above Jokic?
But Jokic is better than Kobe. Jokic is better
Come
than
on.
Kobe. Here's the thing. Jokic will end up being better than Kobe on my all-time list because I'm assuming he does not retire this offseason.
Even if he does, he's better.
Right.
He's
Well,
better.
again, he has one championship as the best player on his team. Kobe arguably has two. Kobe was a great second player on 5 championship teams. Kobe, but I mean, I agree with you, but when I just need a couple more years. Like if Jokic just retired today by choice, I'd be like, oh, okay. He'll probably jump Kobe on my all-time list. If he got hurt and he left forever, I'd be like, oh, well, longevity matters. Collecting stats matters, collecting awards matters, going deep in the playoffs over and over and over matters. That's the thing about Michael Jordan that other people think helps his legacy, and I think hurts it. Michael Jordan has the inability to continue to physically play basketball if he makes 3 straight deep playoff runs. He then cannot do it. I cannot. On record, I physically and mentally cannot. So, if Jokic's body breaks down because he went to a bunch of Western Conference finals in a row and then he just literally can't do it, that matters to me.
It's a fair point.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But to bring it back to Kobe, just as an example, you could not pick. You couldn't and say Kobe's the best player in the NBA 3 out of 4 years.
No.
Even as one MVP is questionable.
100%. You talk about not to take it back to my team again, but what Jalen Brunson's done in this playoffs is a Kobe Bryant. First of all, Kobe Bryant never scored 40 points in 3 consecutive playoff games, let alone 4.
So he didn't have Mamba mentality in the playoffs.
Right, correct. But also
Brunson mentality.
So much less efficient. That's the thing. People are like, oh, fucking Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's doing it efficiently. And he's passing. So not only did we get the tied Michael Jordan in consecutive 40-point playoff games until he had to miss an entire quarter, but he broke the record for most consecutive 40-point playoff games with 5+ assists. Also fucking passing. Kobe Bryant was an inefficient volume scorer. By all modern NBA metrics, Jokic has had a way better career.
And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I'm just saying also short windows are, if just you being ahead of Usain Bolt 10 yards out of the blocks is not being faster than Usain Bolt.
Okay, so here's a question. What position and could he play in the NFL is Jokic playing?
Jokic probably could not play in the NFL. Too slow, too big.
I agree. What a little shitstorm discussion started by Austin Rivers, huh?
Yeah. And I understand people taking issues with the messenger. I saw the JJ Watt thing.
But I don't understand the JJ Watt response. I don't understand it. I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it because you made it personal. All he said was that he thought 30 NBA guys could play in the NFL, which I think we both agree. I don't think it's 30.
Right. You saw Chris Long quote tweeted me, right?
I did not.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So JJ Watt, responds, "You don't got a job in either right now. Go ahead and try." You made it personal. And
Yeah.
to me, that's petty. You took an interesting, what I think a lot of us find is an interesting, worthwhile debate, discussion, whatever you want to call it, and you made it personal that he's not in the NBA. And I'm not an Austin Rivers stan, guys, but to me, you lose the argument, dude. You're that's just my opinion. I think you made it petty because Austin Rivers isn't in the NBA right now.
And I'm just going to say this. I was remarkably shocked at how triggered NFL fans were, or NFL players were by this. Will Compton, Chris Long, JJ Watt, Sean Merriman. Like, I was shocked at how many of them I feel like this discussion has happened so many times that it's not even really like a new topic. I was so shocked. And I'm just going to say this. I think that you're all triggered because he's essentially right. I think that's what's triggering. I think what's triggering is knowing that 12 random dudes in the NFL right now, or in the NBA right now, could be starting NFL wide receivers by week 1 next year. I think that's what's triggering, because the conversation around two-a-days, Oklahoma drills, you don't know what we go through. Literally, no one is saying anybody in the NBA is coming to be a right tackle in the NFL, or be a nose guard, or be a middle linebacker. The NBA build is you're going to be a tight end or you're going to be a wide receiver. There's probably a couple guys who could play D-back, and that's about it. And guess what? This idea, let me just say this right now. This idea that you guys are screaming about, that the NFL is so tough physically and mentally on guys, it's fucking ludicrous. I am a New York Giants fan. We had Plaxico Burress. I don't think I ever saw Plaxico Burress get tackled. Like, I don't think I saw him get tackled 10 times. He either caught the ball and laid down, he caught the ball and went out of bounds, or he caught the ball for a touchdown. Practices, two-a-days. I know for a fact that Plaxico Burress's practices for the New York Giants are wearing a visor sideways and pretending to ride a stationary bike. There is 15 seasons of Hard Knocks. There is 0 seconds of footage of a wide receiver participating in an Oklahoma drill. There is 0 seconds of footage of a wide receiver participating in a tackling drill. DeAndre Hopkins does not get tackled in training camp. Ever. Not one time. They put different colored jerseys on the guys you're not allowed to hit. No one is arguing that Zion is going to come and play defensive tackle. We are arguing that Josh Hart is the same exact height as Randy Moss. We are arguing that fucking, who's your boy on the Bengals? Your second receiver? They showed his high school basketball clips.
T. Higgins.
Look at T. Higgins' high school basketball clips. He's fucking hammer dunking on people. Yeah, no shit. Do you think he chose to play a sport where he's going to make less money, play less seasons, and potentially get hurt? Or do you think maybe he can dunk, but he doesn't have an NBA jump shot? Like, it's ludicrous. Jalen Brunson is the same height as Justin Jefferson. He's the same height as Justin Jefferson. What are we talking about here?
So here's my thing. Yeah, all these guys. Well, first of all, the NFL players got triggered and took it personally, and so did NFL fans, which we all know I'm like the biggest NFL fan. The problem is we have evidence.
Exactly.
So we have the Antonio Gates, the Tony Gonzalez. I mean,
The Jimmy Grahams,
Jimmy
the Julius
Graham's,
Thomases,
Julius Thomas. Who was the guy in the Raiders who was a track guy? James Jett.
James Jett,
They reached out to Usain Bolt.
Rocket Ishmael,
Rocket
Tyreek
Ishmael.
Hill. All these guys who are just like, oh, you're just a track star? Do you think you could learn to catch?
So we do have evidence of it.
Let's also do this, Andy. How about just across football? This guy played no high school football. He was a soccer player. He's kicking in the NFL. This guy played no high school football. He played rugby in Australia. He's the starting tackle on the fucking Philadelphia Eagles. This guy played no high school football. He ran track. He's now a starting wide receiver for the fucking Raiders. This guy played no fucking college football. He fucking came over and put on a helmet for the first time since high school, and he's going to the Hall of Fame as a tight end. It happens all the time. Name one guy in the NBA, one guy who they were like, he never played basketball, but they taught him to yesterday after seeing him on the soccer field.
Well, and that's the counter argument is the reverse doesn't work. Now, don't get me wrong. They're the modern day gladiators, the NFL players, use Plaxico Burress. Like, I can't vouch for that, but that could be an outlier. Now, obviously, they're going to take advantage of, or they're going to treat star players differently. But, the game's the game. Guys are getting hit. You can't take it easy.
But not fucking wide receivers.
No, they're still getting lit up.
And they're certainly, and they're getting hit in games, but they're certainly not like Chris Long's thing was, our fucking, you come to training camp, your head's pounding from all the tackling you have to do. It's like, literally no one's arguing that there's a middle line. Like, why are we all acting as if every NFL player is Dick Butkus? Dude, I've seen Eli Manning holding a fucking bucket of sand on the beach. Like, he's not Dick Butkus. We just had a whole roast where everybody talked about how Tom Brady was a fucking unathletic dork out of college. Stop acting like the NFL's only middle linebackers fighting each other in a cage. Every NBA player, when Austin Rivers says 30 NBA players, could play wide receiver or tight end. That's what everybody with a brain is saying. And by the way, when Tony Gonzalez averages 6 points in college and goes to the NFL and he's a Hall of Famer, when Antonio Gates or Julius Peppers averages 7 points at UNC, now do the reverse. Charlie Ward won most outstanding football player. He won the award for the most outstanding football player. Came to the NBA, averaged 6 points. In a pretty, I wouldn't even say a mediocre career. Like, you were like, who? You're not even TJ McConnell.
Yeah, I don't think it's 30 players, but there's a fair amount of guys. We've already listed a bunch who've done it. It's a lot easier to pick up football. The skill set in those positions. We're not talking about defensive end here, although Julius Peppers is debunking that.
But Julius Peppers, again, a football player, happened to play basketball. But I'm saying it's not like he went out on the basketball court and like Allen Iverson was Mr. Virginia football 2 years in a row. He still has a state record. He had 7 interceptions in a game at safety. In a game. He chose the NBA because he's like, I'm good enough to play in the NBA. I'll make more money. I'll play longer. I'll get less hurt. No one in history, maybe there's 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys ever who could have played in the NFL, in the NBA and chose the NFL. Why would you do that?
I mean, look, LeBron, and I know it's LeBron. He played 3 years of high school football. He's first team All-State. If LeBron chooses football,
he's a flopping bitch.
I mean, he's probably a Hall of Famer at tight end.
And everybody also acts like the NBA is soft, dude. Like this is just the flopping in the NBA. I've talked about it before. Is just part of the game. You know what also didn't happen in the 90s? In the 90s, every single broken up pass wasn't like, where's the flag? Where is the flag? You're telling me there's no fucking flag? In the 90s, every broken up pass did not have a wide receiver screaming for a flag. That's just part of the game today. Part of the NFL game today is working those refs for flags. That is the NFL equivalent of a flopper, by the way. All these guys, Oklahoma drills all August, 2 days. That. But then after the whistle, by the way, if anybody touches your face in a scrum, oh! Throw the flag, ref. Did you see what he did to me? He brushed his hand against my face. Oh, my God. The gladiators.
And you could counter that.
Maximus Aurelius, when in between the whistles, they'll fight guys with swords. But if somebody brushes their face, are you kidding me?
I mean, the quarterback has a red or yellow jersey. It means you can't touch him. So it's my thing on these guys getting mad. I find it interesting because, again, there's enough players who did convert and became literally Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking just good. Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, Julius Peppers.
But, like, look at the reverse, too. Donovan McNabb played basketball at Syracuse. He rode the fucking bench. He got a couple minutes here and there. Charlie Ward won most outstanding college football player. He scored 8 points a game at Florida State. 8. He scored 6 in the NBA.
I mean, here's a random one I just thought of. Here's a random one. The kid from Duke who plays Duke basketball, Paulus, and then just says, I'm going to go play quarterback and finish college. Do you know what I'm talking about?
He went and played fucking where?
Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
Literally had played his full basketball career. I think he even graduated from Duke. And was like, no, I'm going to go play football at a school in a Power 5 conference.
And listen, throughout the time, like when it was less normal to be like a specialized athlete, I mean, they said Dave Winfield got drafted in everything. Basketball, football, baseball. Why do you think he chose baseball? Because at the time it paid the most. And your career could be the longest. Dave Winfield played baseball for 20 years. The issue that no one talks about is there are a lot of high school football players that could make the NBA at some point, and there's a lot of high school basketball players that could make the NFL at some point. But the thing is, no one chooses the NFL over the NBA. So there's a lot of guys in the NBA who were great football players but chose basketball. There's not a lot of guys in the NFL who were elite basketball players who chose football. There aren't. You would have to be dumb. Somebody said to me the other day, oh, Terrell Pryor. So you're telling me Terrell Pryor played 11 seasons in the NFL and made what the average NBA player makes in 2? That's bad math, even if you went to OSU. That's terrible mathematics. Even with an Ohio State University education, playing 11 years to make what fucking Obi Toppin makes this season is ludicrous. That's a terrible decision. Your agent should be fucking murdered.
Yeah, I don't know why everybody got so worked up over this.
because they're triggered.
Well, I
We're
think
gladiators.
and again, I do think they are the equivalent of the
And by the way,
day.
you noticed we didn't see the Randy Mosses and the DeAndre Hopkins and the Odell Beckhams fucking chiming in. There's Chris Long and TJ Watt and fucking Sean Merriman and they can never do what I did.
It wasn't the skill players, is what you're saying.
It wasn't the guys who know, I wanted to play in the NBA, but I don't have a fucking jump shot. So I just took the fact that I could fucking catch alley-oops and lobs in high school, and I just went to the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins is like, I just do what I did in high school basketball, except I don't have to make a jump shot. Throw it up high to me. That's what I said yesterday. I said Josh Hart is grabbing offensive rebounds over 7-footers in the NBA. We're acting like he can't outjump a 5'10" guy on a end zone fade. He's leading the NBA in offensive rebounding in the playoffs. He's 6'4". He's the exact same height as Randy Moss. Except he's not going against a 5'10" corner running backwards. He's going up against Joel Embiid, who's 7 feet tall.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Everybody getting so worked up. Stupid. But like you said, probably a lot of it has to do. It's coming from Austin Rivers.
Right. But also, you see it. You see the fucking in the replies. NBA soft. And it's like, we
just don't watch.
And also, that's just part of the game. Like the
football guys are soft too now. They're softer.
Exactly.
Everybody's soft.
Everybody complains all the time. Oh, you can't touch a quarterback anymore. Oh, how do you tackle? You can't drop tackle. You can't we're acting like the NBA is a bunch of floppers now. And in the NFL, it's just Bruno Nagurski and Dick.
Well, they do flop in the NFL. That's the same. In the NFL, it flops just as much.
Yeah. We're acting like in the NFL, they're out there hitting each other with fucking sledgehammers and still playing in leather helmets. Forearm shivering guys to the neck.
I mean, Tom Brady bitches after every play. You see Mahomes do it all the time now, too. He bitches all the time to the refs.
And every receiver who's ever had a pass broken up.
Go to an NFL game, guys. I'll tell you what. In fact, I'd even argue that the NFL, I'd make this statement. The NFL fans are bigger crybabies than basketball fans. You go to your local NFL game after any incomplete pass. Oh, it's a pass interference. He yelled at him. Pass interference. Everybody's looking at the scoreboard. They want to replay. Pass interference. To me, it's the most obnoxious thing about NFL fans when you go to a game. Is the local homer team fandom that bitches about every single play. The fact that we can't really think of a guy who just converted and then was good in the NBA kind of ends the argument.
Yeah.
We have not done calls for a little bit.
Let's go. And Tom Brady, let's fucking go.
310-359-8365. That's the hotline. Let's get to a couple calls.
Hey, fellas. Peyton Stoke calling from beautiful Omaha, Nebraska. And I am here as the new official, unofficial, Dirty Sports WNBA correspondent. A lot of news, a lot of hype. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, now joining the ranks of Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu into the WNBA, and I am here as the man, the one, bringing it all to you, bringing you the updates, getting you ready for the WNBA regular season. We're in preseason right now, 7 days away, 1 full week from WNBA tip-off. Get ready, boys. Hey, fellas, Peyton Stoke.
Why all the pauses? Peyton? Why all the pauses? That's my first call. Why are you pausing so much?
It's the
Dramatic effect?
It's WNBA teams moving the basketball.
I did see in Caitlin Clark's preseason debut. It's sold out. It wasn't a big arena, but still, it's sold out.
Oh yeah, she's going to be selling out games all fucking year. This is a huge moment for the WNBA. There's no doubt about that. This is the biggest. This is the first chance they've had of being profitable. This is the biggest chance they've had of being somewhat successful. I don't care at all, really. It'll be fun to watch. Not watch the games. I would never, but it'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch what happens. And you know what? Maybe I will tune in. I'll probably tune into
what we could do. You know what we could do.
Don't even say a live watch.
No, I was gonna do something else. She's playing for a team a couple hours away from me. You guys could, if you guys get in my head enough, you guys can ship my ass up to Indianapolis for a night, and I'll go tell. I'll do basically an Andy Ruther investigates. What's the arena like? What's the fanfare? How's the concession?
I'll tell you what I did the other day, Andy, because we had joked about it on the show. I looked at, by the way, Knicks Pacers tickets in Indiana are so reasonable. I was like, I'm flying to Cincinnati, and then me and Ruther are going to the Knicks Pacers game. What? No wonder you don't come and visit us out here anymore. Flying to Cincinnati is absurd.
It's absurd.
Why is it to cost so much to fly to Cincinnati?
It's one of the worst airports to fly into. I don't know. It's
like $800 to fly to Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I can fly to New York for like $200.
I used to get angry every year for Christmas. I used to bitch to my parents, and I'd always say, it's cheaper for me to fly to Hawaii than it is to Cincinnati. This is absurd. It's terrible. Cincinnati has been in and I don't know if it still was, for years it was top 5 most expensive airports to fly into.
Indianapolis, not a whole lot cheaper. Chicago, cheap, obviously, but that's fucking 2 hours plus on the other side of Indianapolis.
Now, if we had a speed bullet train that I love, Ryan Clapp, make it happen.
Yeah. The only not terrible Shabelli hot take. Can we get more trains in this country?
We need more trains. I'm a big train guy.
Same.
But again, to go back to what I was saying, if you guys can
let Ruther chick or whatever.
Here's the thing, though. I got to find somebody to go with. I'm not driving to Indianapolis by myself.
Take your lady.
Well, then we got to find,
What? The moms can't watch the kid?
She could, but the truth is she's going to want no interest in part of it. In fact, we actually had this discussion.
She doesn't want to go see Caitlin Clark?
She was no part of a WNBA game ever.
Wow.
This is why the league sucks. Women do not support women.
Yeah. Well,
Bill Burr has a great whole bit on it.
Yeah.
Or an old bit. And he's right. Women complaining to men about the WNBA, but none of you women want to support it.
Yeah.
So she's already told me she wouldn't go to a game. I don't know. Peyton, I'll be honest, I don't know what the interest level is. Also, I want to know what's wrong with you mentally that you watch the WNBA.
Isn't he he's also a Denver fan? I think he lives in Nebraska. He was in Chicago for a minute. There's no WNBA team in Denver. There should be. The Lady Ski Dogs.
Ski Dogs.
There's no team in Nebraska. I don't believe so.
We should send Ski Dog to. He's in Orange County. Send him to an LA Sparks game.
Yeah.
In a 69 jersey.
That's hilarious.
All right. So this was a call, I believe, last week. It was about NFL games abroad.
Okay.
Hey guys, John 218. Came across an interesting table on Wikipedia about teams playing abroad in the NFL. The Jags lead the way. Not even close. 11 games. A fucking 11. Next closest is Miami for some reason with 6. Wanted to know what you guys' thoughts were about games being played abroad in total. Is it a good thing? There's a game going to be played in Brazil this year. I don't know why. I've been in Brazil multiple times. I know some Portuguese, the Brazilians don't give a fuck about American football. I feel like this is a square peg into the circle hole type of deal. But do you want to see your teams, Joe, Giants, Ruther, half the NFL, go play abroad? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Some of your thoughts. I figured this would be like a nice reprieve for Ruther since we're in the offseason for NFL, and give us a reason to talk about it. Seriously.
Okay, so there's a couple ways to answer this. Is it good for the league to expand the game? Yes. Is it good to expand the NFL brand from their business sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it actually good for the games? Fuck no.
Terrible for the games, terrible for the fans of the actual teams.
Exactly.
Yeah, it feels like with all this talk of cutting back the preseason to make the regular season longer, why don't you just play both of your preseason games in another country? Just send everybody there for 2 weeks.
Hard Knocks, Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but of course, like, listen, you and I before the show were talking about the new NBA television deal that's upcoming. And it's like all of the whining and complaining that everybody does about NBA ratings and blah 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 blah. The expansion of the game into Europe and Asia by David Stern, the Dream Team, all of that shit is like why the NBA will certainly not be going broke anytime soon. It's a global game. So obviously the NFL wants a similar thing. It's crazy because the NFL actually goes and plays games over there, but the NBA like barely does. But meanwhile, it's way bigger foreign because like you can actually play the sport there. What the NFL should do is like start fucking NFL youth leagues. But also, no one wants CTE. It's why no one picks football if they could choose a different sport. Think some kid in fucking Brazil that's a great soccer player is like, I want brain damage. And if they're going to do that, then they're going to take up like jiu-jitsu or whatever and be a UFC fighter.
Yeah, I mean, look, if for your team it's terrible. You're taking away a home game. The games traditionally are not the best either.
Because these guys got to travel so fucking much. There's no, they're. It's like a double road game. You're not even in a city that you've been to before.
Yeah. But again, it's the NFL doesn't care. Their bottom line is just money.
Sure.
If they can tap into a new market, that equals more people to buy shit. So I don't know. But I got one. This has been sitting in the queue. We talked about top 10 underrated athletes.
Yeah.
Bro, this DirtBall. I don't even know some of these athletes. This is hilarious.
Underrated? We're talking underrated.
Underrated. Some DirtBall submitted this list.
Hey, Joe and Andy, new Minneapolis resident, Will here. Based on the conversation from last episode, I was inspired to give my top 10 underrated athletes. It's hard to say who's more or less underrated, especially across sports, but put mine into rough order. So starting at 10, Sidney Moncrief, Sean Marion, then Jags and Cowboys wide receiver Jimmy Smith, Barry Larkin, Dan Fouts, Junior Seau, Tim Brown, Stan Musial, Tim Duncan, and my number one, Steve Carlton. All right, thanks, guys. Condoms are for the local favorite beer around here, Michelob Golden Light. That shit sucks. All right, peace.
Andy, you're beside yourself. I think it's a good list.
Because I can't vouch for some of those, a lot of those guys.
Why can't you?
I didn't see Steve Carlton play.
Well, okay, but you know,
When did Sidney Moncrief play?
Sidney Moncrief famously beat Jordan 3-1 in Jordan's first ever playoff appearance.
Again, I was 6.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you're okay. I can vouch for Barry Larkin. I can vouch for who else did he say? Like, I can't vouch for Dan Fouts.
Right.
So we're already up 3 guys I can't vouch for. Stan Musial, bro, come on. That's why I'm beside myself. I can't.
Steve Carlton's a good one too. You know, you look at all the Steve Carlton's like not brought up nearly as much as like whatever people, but all his statistics are there.
Tim Brown,
but yeah,
I get
just outside of my Steve Carlton, just outside of my era. Stan Musial, I don't like. He played in the 40s. I don't even know. Did he have to go to war?
I just know St. Louis loves him.
Right, but also like, yeah, dude, if he's running at the pace of the guy that was spinning the reel of the camera, like if your highlights, if I can't tell how fast you are in your highlights, because it all depends on how fast some guy was churning butter, I can't. Tim Brown for sure. Tim Duncan. I think Tim Duncan's appreciated to be that high on the list, but he's definitely underrated because he should be in most people's like top 5 to 7 of all time, and he's certainly not. Barry Larkin, you got to appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because growing up as a guy, it was always, especially a guy who went to college in St. Louis, everybody wouldn't shut the fuck up about Ozzie Smith. And I say, guys, what's his batting average? Like, cool. He's a great fielder and he does backflips. Like I'm just saying, just because you do Larkin, by the way, Larkin did a backflip too when they won the World Series. And I don't know. Now that I've thought about it, was that a troll on Ozzie Smith?
I love it.
I just thought about that. That was in our paper. I have the championship paper. My mom kept those and I have those. So now I'm thinking about, did Larkin troll Ozzie Smith? Anyway, I mean, I see a couple of those, but you know who's underrated is Barry Bonds. But then again, the whole stupid steroid discussion gets brought up.
Yeah.
And it kind of ruins the whole discussion.
Jalen Brunson now, like, is Jalen Brunson top 3 on that list as of today?
I can't vouch for today.
So, I mean, Chris Broussard, he's not a star. Chris Broussard went with he's not a star.
He said that?
Yeah. And then, if everybody has a couple good fucking games, we didn't do this when so-and-so had, we didn't do this about Trae Young. Is Trae Young a superstar? How about last night too? The TNT crew is off the fucking first. Shaq tells Jokic that he didn't think he was MVP, which is like, okay, I guess you could have told him that like off air. And then the Knicks come back after the fucking Jalen Brunson being out, and it opens with Shaq and Charles Barkley being like, I can't wait for this team to lose to Boston. They're like, are you guys going to analyze these games?
Bro, I can't believe this. I got to pull this up. This Chris Broussard, this is first class. Just, I mean, is this trolling?
Meanwhile, Chris Broussard looks exactly like Jalen Brunson. If you weren't wearing your glasses, you're like, it's like fuzzy Jalen Brunson. He should be ecstatic that somebody who looks like him could be a star in the NBA.
Listen to this.
A little bit.
Look,
like these guys,
you guys know I cover
than most people I've ever spoken to.
What the fuck is that?
You know, it's like there's a you find this with kids too that have been given everything, and like maybe their parents don't pay attention to them, or maybe they don't really whatever. But there's like a
Theo Von podcast. What is happening?
So it's like,
where is it?
What is happening?
You just have another window open?
Experience.
I don't even know where this is coming from. I just hit. Hold on a sec. What the fuck is going on? What it went from Theo Von to.
I don't know what you're doing, bro.
What the fuck? I didn't even have Spotify open. It wasn't even on those podcasts. Bro, did they just automatically start playing podcasts on Spotify? Anyway, you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay. That was like the middle of a Theo Von podcast, and then it just jumped to a Joe Rogan podcast.
I have no explanation for it. I don't know what's going on over there in fucking Rutherville.
Okay. I'm actually like a little freaked out right now.
Anyway, let's see knockoff Cat Williams talk about Jalen Brunson.
Move a little bit.
Look, you guys know I covered his dad, who was a journeyman with him, Rick Brunson. Yeah. So I would love
you mentioned that
to say yes, be with you guys and be with the crowd, yes. But no.
Gee whiz.
What Jalen Brunson proved last night is that he is an excellent player who is having a historic run, who may one day become a superstar. I've never said he couldn't become.
That is fair.
I'm just saying that.
When would that occur?
He is not yet a superstar.
Okay.
And look, I get it. I'm seasoned. I've been around the block a few times, maybe a few hundred times, all right? I've seen the best players of the last 50 years. I covered the best of the last 30 years,
Covered
all right?
Rick Brunson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am not as prone as you two and as these legions of desperate Knicks fans to be a prisoner of the moment.
Okay, but
Is that you, Joe? Are you the legions of Knicks fans?
Well, let me take it from another standpoint. If Anthony Edwards averages 30 points a game in this series and is the lead dog on an up-and-coming Minnesota Timberwolves team that beats the Nuggets and goes to the Western Conference Finals, he's a superstar, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what the fuck are we talking about here? Last year's MVP was not Nikola Jokic. Last year's MVP was Joel Embiid. Jalen Brunson isn't averaging 30 points in the playoffs. He's averaging 40 points in the playoffs. They're 2 games away from going to the fucking Eastern Conference Finals. What are we talking about?
He finished top 5 in the MVP voting.
It's stupid.
These shows are so dumb. First things first. First things first. He's not a star.
Yeah.
I mean,
Welcome to But First, Broussard. Every day, we all want to try to get going on our life, but we can't do it without, but first, a big cup of Broussard.
And Nick Wright's hair. I just can't, man. What are we doing? I just can't take you seriously. And I agree with a fair amount of your takes, but just come on, man. What are we doing?
Nick Wright, a LeBron stan like myself. And listen, I love LeBron's my GOAT, but we don't have to do everything. Like, just because LeBron won't just be bald doesn't mean you shouldn't just be bald. Nick Wright, just be bald.
But if you're not going to be bald, that's what you're doing?
Yeah, you're doing the...
That's my thing. Like, if you're not going to be bald, that's what you're doing?
You're doing the John Travolta and Pulp Fiction?
I don't know. But you know what? To bring it full circle, the NBA loves this shit. Because these idiots are talking about their sport.
I love this shit. I fucking love this shit. I was like, no, it's cool. Like, we're going to be a fucking, I was like, I said from middle of this year, I was like, man, goals to Eastern Conference Finals this year. I think we can do it. It's like a down East, and we have a great player, and we have a great team. And now it's just everything that happens. Everybody's just like, hate. I'm here for all of it. Gives me life. Gives me purpose.
Gives you purpose.
Yeah. It's the only reason I go on social media. I was like, I did the whole thing like, oh, I'm not going to go. And then it was just like Philly, Pacers. I'm like, oh, fuck. I just have like, you guys give me a reason to come on here and quote tweet you and troll you and fucking Chris Long fucking quote tweeting me because he's triggered that like literally every shooting guard in the NBA is the best wide receiver on his favorite football team.
Well, it is funny because you have an athletic quarterback and on the Eagles, right? And it's like, if you took Hurts, he's not playing point guard in the NBA.
Of course he's not. And you know how I know? Because if he could, he would. You think he wants to get, what is it called? Butt fucked? What's their play? The fuck butt? You think he wants to get fuck butted 40 times a year for 6 seasons until he has brain damage? And then Eagles fans start throwing batteries at him, and they gotta go, and he's got to go Carson Wentz in like Indianapolis and Washington and LA. You think he wants to do that instead of just being Dante DiVincenzo? He's like, I mean, like, I'm beloved, but like also just like, I'm just kind of here and I'm making like fucking $20 million a year. Like,
well, give us a ring, guys. 310-359-8365. That's the hotline. Substack's where it's at. If you want to get access to everything, become a paid subscriber. I'm going to drop a Dirty Sports previously released episode in the next couple days.
Shout out to Garrett Payne, his terrible Drake hot take. He said if I stuck around and did the Nuggets game and we released the Dirty Slides, which we did yesterday, episode 69, nice, that he would become a founding member. You too can become a founding member, even if you're already a member. Founding member, you get the ability to start chats in our chat section. You also get a free subscription to Miscellaneous, which is my Substack page, which I just posted a little blog post on yesterday. So yeah, follow us on Substack, even if it's a free subscription. Think about becoming a paid subscriber. Think about becoming a founding member. Think about supporting it. What I want, where's the Andy? There was so much talk. Where's the Andy Ruther like kids song review pod come in? There's like Andy was talking about his making some blog posts, his lists.
Don't worry, it's all in the works.
All right, I love it.
Don't you worry. I am gonna re-release the OJ Simpson this weekend too.
You're shadow banned on Twitter. Why don't you start posting in the notes section, dog?
Yeah, well, I don't really fuck with Twitter.
I know, because you're shadow banned. And Dirty Sports is shadow banned, by the way, for just being involved with you, or vice versa, one or the other. But I think you were shadow banned before Dirty Sports was shadow banned.
I was.
I think this is Sam Tripoli trying to get us to join his network, the Shadow Ban Network. But yeah, I want to see you in the notes section. That's the Twitter-ish section of Substack. Need some Taco Bell updates.
Okay. Little T-Bizzle updates.
Yeah.
You're the T-Bizzle king now. You got that app.
I do, yeah. Oh, I basically exclusively eat breakfast there. I mean, not my breakfasts are exclusively Taco Bell, but I basically, if I go to Taco Bell now, it's for breakfast.
I gotcha. I don't know if I've ever had their breakfast.
Oh, it's pretty good. They make some like little burritos. They're like little cheesy burritos, and they're like $1.79 or something like that, and they're pretty good. Like the bigger burritos are like whatever, but I'll just go and I'll grab 3 of the mini burritos.
Yeah,
spend like $6.
That sounds like something up my alley. All right, guys, that's our show. Have a good weekend. Again, I'll get some stuff up on Substack. Stay alert for that. And we'll see you guys on Monday. Joe say Knicks in 5. All right. Have a great weekend. And as always, stay dirty.